people know that Republicans have shut the government down because of their unwillingness to provide health care to everyday Americans, working class Americans, and middle class Americans. The Republicans have created a health care crisis that is devastating people all across the country. Working class America, rural America, urban America, small town America, the heartland of America, and black and brown communities all throughout America. That Republican healthcare crisis includes, but is not limited to, the largest cut to Medicaid in American history, hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health centers closing all throughout the country because of what Republicans did in their one big ugly bill. The country faces a possible $536 billion cut to Medicare if Congress doesn't act by the end of this year. The Republicans continue to refuse to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, which is going to result in tens of millions of Americans experiencing dramatically increased premiums, copays, and deductibles. All across the country, including, most significantly, in states that Donald Trump won, and Republicans could care less. House Republicans canceled votes 2 weeks ago, canceled votes last week, canceled votes this week. House Republicans are on vacation, House Democrats are on duty here in Washington, D.C., ready to reopen the government, ready to support our troops and hardworking federal civil servants, and ready to address the Republican healthcare crisis that is crushing people all across the country in an environment where the cost of living is already too high because of failed Republican policies like the Trump tariffs. Questions? Manu?
The government shutdown's going to get worse each and every single day for so many Americans, and we've already seen the standoff persist for some time. Republicans have rejected the Democratic CR with all of your demands there. So why not come up with a new approach, put a new offer on the table to try to jumpstart something rather than dig into your position?
We're open to sitting down anytime, any place with anyone in terms of our Republican colleagues, either here at the Capitol,
Why not put a new offer
either here at the Capitol or back in the Oval Office, to have a conversation about finding a bipartisan path forward. But there has to be a willingness amongst Republicans to actually have a conversation. And since the White House meeting over 2 weeks ago, Republicans have gone radio silent. Donald Trump has spent more time on the golf course than talking to Democrats on Capitol Hill. Republicans have been on vacation since September 19th in the House. And in the Senate, the Republican strategy is to do the same exact thing, bring the same failed partisan Republican spending bill to the floor over and over and over again, knowing it's going to go down. Because Democrats have been very clear. We're not going to support a partisan Republican spending bill that continues to gut the health care of the American people. We are open about having a good faith discussion with our Republican colleagues to hear their ideas about reopening the government while at the same time decisively addressing the Republican health care crisis. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. In terms of the military, it looks like OMB is finding money and appropriating it to pay the military. Do you agree with that strategy? Are you on board with that? And are you interested in ultimately one bill on the House floor to pay the military?
I agree with making sure that our men and women in uniform, our active duty troops, are paid. We also need to make sure that we take care of all of our hardworking federal civil servants, which is why Republicans should be back here in Washington working with us to reopen the government, as opposed to continuing the Trump Republican shutdown. Thanks.
Republicans have run on repealing and replacing Obamacare since 2010. But you're arguing for these subsidies to help subsidize Obamacare here. Isn't that an indictment that there's a problem with it, the fact that it needs to be propped up in some form?
No, the overwhelming majority of the American people, including in Republican-run states, support an extension of the Affordable Care Act tax credits because they know that the Affordable Care Act has been an important part of ensuring that everyday Americans can afford to go see a doctor when they're sick, when their children are sick, and when their families are sick. And from our standpoint, it's strange that Republicans want to make this a partisan fight. This is not a partisan fight as far as Democrats are concerned. This is about the American people and ensuring that the American people can afford high-quality health care when they need it, including in red states. And by the way, the majority of states that benefit in terms of their people getting health care from the Affordable Care Act tax credits are states that Donald Trump won. West Virginia, number 1. Wyoming, number 2. Alaska, number 3. Tennessee, number 4. Mississippi, number 5. And states 6 through 10 are also states that Donald Trump won. This is not a partisan issue for Democrats. We care about making sure the American people can afford health care. Whether you're a Democrat, an independent, or a Republican, we are fighting for hard-working American taxpayers. The Republicans do have a credibility issue when it comes to health care and the Affordable Care Act. And American people know we're standing on the side of lifting up their quality of life, and Republicans have spent the last 15 years, you are correct, trying to repeal and displace people off the Affordable Care Act. In fact, they've done it more than 70 times, which is why if we're going to resolve this issue, it can't simply be a Republican wing and a prayer. We actually need legislative action that extends the Affordable Care Act tax credits. And by the way, also addresses other aspects of the Republican healthcare crisis that is crushing the American people. Thanks. Third row, thanks.
The judiciary can only continue its full paid operation through Friday. Do you have any concerns about what will happen with that, criminal and civil cases?
We remain completely and totally concerned by all of the aspects of the Trump Republican shutdown, which is why we need them to abandon their failed my way or the highway approach, their take it or leave it approach, and the Republican go it alone approach. Because if Democratic votes are needed to reopen the government, which is the case, then this has to be a bipartisan discussion to find a bipartisan resolution to reopen the government and address the Republican healthcare crisis. We are very concerned with all of the implications of this Trump Republican shutdown and how the American people are being hurt. It doesn't seem to me that Republicans are concerned because they remain on vacation and have now canceled votes for the 3rd consecutive week. That's outrageous. Democrats from all across the country will be here in person, meeting in just a few hours and throughout the week because we want to reopen the government. And the question has to be asked, why in the world are House Republicans still on vacation, spread out across the country and the world? It's perplexing. It's shocking. I'm flummoxed by the whole situation. It makes no sense. They're reinforcing the narrative that they could care less about the quality of life of the American people. Thanks.
Mr. Leader, I want to ask you about November 1st, which is when open enrollment begins, as you know, and some rates are already being set. There are some who think that's a date by which, at this point, the leverage of the shutdown may not matter.